Hello, and welcome back to the channel. As you can see here, in the free agency period after the 2009-10 season, Twins didn't win the Stanley Cup, so I'm just going to quickly kind of recap how the season went, kind of, hey, like free agency and trades and stuff, and the draft and scoring and all that good stuff. So let's get into it. So as you probably saw on the screen there, we finished with a 44, 33, and 5 record, which is like 12 wins better than the 32 they had that season. So we finished with 93 points, which was good enough for 7th in the East. So you were able to make the playoffs, which is a surprise, especially considering our goals for per game was 3.13 and goals against was 3.24. So we were giving up more goals than we were scoring, which isn't really a recipe for success, but that is what it is. In terms of President's Trophy, if you scroll up here, was the New Jersey Devils, who finished with 107 points. In terms of player stats, we like kind of sort by our team here. Leading scorers were Nathan Horton and David Booth, who both finished with 78 points, which is pretty solid, I'd have to say. In terms of Bryan McCabe, here he is, he finished with 54 points, 11 goals, 43 assists, which I think is pretty solid for kind of aging defenseman. Like, how many did he actually score that year? 29-10, he finished with 43 points. So we did better than he did, which is pretty good, especially considering I didn't only play like 1 or 2 games. Not that I didn't play that many games, to be honest. I think a couple like in October, they won in November, and then the sim we were able to kind of get ahead of their poor record and kind of sim pretty much the entire rest of the season. So pretty good stuff in sim from him, 54 points. In terms of top scorer in the league in the regular season was Bryan McCabe with the Rangers. I don't know if this is when he actually was with the Rangers. There was an in-game trade because the second leading scorer in the league was Henrik Zetterberg with the Rangers, which obviously he never played. He was a one-team guy for the Red Wings. So clearly the Rangers were making moves, which was disappointing and disgusting, but can't really stop them from doing that. So in terms of the playoffs, let's look at the playoff tree. So you gotta go right to Eastern Conference. So 16, we were the 7th seed. We faced the Boston Bruins, who finished with 101 points in the first round, and we swept them. Pretty magical stuff. We won the games 4-2, 4-2, 3-2, and 5-3 to advance to the second round and play the Pittsburgh Penguins, who were the 6th seed, who upset the Atlanta Thrashers in the round one. Went to 7, as you can see. We won the first game 3-2. Penguins then won the next 3, 6-1, 2-1, 6-5. So we were basically on the brink of elimination. Had to win all 3 of the remaining games to advance, which we somehow managed to do. We won them 4-2, 6-3, and 6-0. It's pretty crazy stuff. As see there, we fell in the Eastern Conference Finals to the Rangers, which is I threw up a little in my mouth. Just kidding, but I was not happy when we lost to the Rangers. In 6, we won game 1 2-1. They won game 2 4-3. We then took a 2-1 series lead with a 2-1 winning game 3, and the Rangers then won the next 3. 2-1, 3-2, and 6-5 to make it to the Stanley Cup final. And thankfully, the Calgary Flames defeated the evil Rangers in 6 to win the Stanley Cup. So in terms of, there's a large insectoid. I'll have to, man, or that I said that. Player stats. Here we go. Our leading scorer, not leading Pim's leading scorer, was Nathan Horton. That's with 19 points. So he was doing pretty good this first this season. And then if you want to see Bryan McCabe's stats, here he is. Finished with 12 points in the playoffs, 3 goals, 9 assists, which is pretty solid, I'd say. So Bryan McCabe had a pretty solid season. So then in terms of the awards, let's check those out quick. So obviously the Flames won the Cup. President's Trophy, so was the Devils. And then Flames and Rangers, this is the Cup final. Art Ross for Aaron Gabrick. Hart went to Lundqvist. Norris went to, now you're going to try to pronounce the first name, McCulloch from the Coyotes. Zetterberg, as I said, he was somehow a Ranger. They must have pulled off a trade. Won the Lady Byng. Andy Chiodo, no idea if that's a real player or not, won the Calder. Mika Kiprusoff won the Conn Smythe. Lundqvist won the Vezina. Kiprusoff won the Jennings. Sid the Kid won the Masterton, which is interesting, considering he was 10th in the league in scoring with 85 points. Mikhail Grabowski won the Selke from the Maple Leafs. Gabrick won the Pearson, and the Rocket Richard. And that's kind of all the awards. So in terms of free agency offseason, you probably noticed there that we had someone who was not clearly, very clearly not on the Florida Panthers 2009-2010 roster there in the scoring categories, Mikko Koivu. So at the draft, we got a trade offer from the Wild. It was Mikko Koivu and Manny Fernandez for Stefan Weiss and Radek Dvorak. And I was like, all right, the two big pieces obviously were Weiss and Mikko Koivu. Compared the two, Mikko Koivu was 1 overall point higher, and they were the same kind of player type and same position and everything, and they're but the same age. So I was like, all right, that's basically a free dub in the trade. I'll take Koivu for Weiss. And then Manny Fernandez was still pretty high overall for his age, and Radek Dvorak was like a 76 overall winger, and he like even without me making any other signings and stuff, wouldn't have made the roster, like the starting roster next season. So I was like, all right, which I didn't know at the time, but I figured he's only 76 overall. Like I could probably find like it's a younger player for like that overall is cheap in free agency. So I was like, all right, I'll make the trade. So we basically got a new first line center, or second line center, because Michael Furlik is also an 84 overall. So we got a good 1-2 punch down the middle with Koivu and Furlik, and then a nice new backup goalie in Manny Fernandez. And then that was kind of it. Then in terms of free agency, you kind of see there are one free agent signing. I kind of looked at our roster, like what I like to do is the kind of worst position, worst is in like who was the lowest overall in our kind of starting 18. And we had 4 players who were all 77 overall, but 3 of them were kind of young players with high potential. So I was like, all right, I don't want to kind of push them off the roster, so I'll leave them in their positions on the fourth line, left and right wing, and one on the defensive. But the other guy in the bottom pairing had hit his EA defined peak, and he was 27, so he wasn't going to really grow anymore. So I traded him to I think it was Philly for like a 5th round draft pick to like just free up the cap space because you see we literally have 50 grand in cap space left, and signed Roman Polak to a 1-year deal at like 1.5 mil, which basically was all our cap space because he went and signed the original deal at 1.2, which is what he initially wanted because he's like I want to get enough playing time, which is kind of dumb because he literally be I guess he really wants to be more than a third pairing defenseman. I see the argument. But even then he's a 79 overall, so he could potentially kind of move up to the second pair and be fine for us. So I don't really know what his complaint was, but it was a 1-year deal, so it didn't really hurt. It's like basically max out our cap space, but not really gonna make any trades during the regular season, unless it's another like trade off like the one from the Wild, where it's basically there's no reason for me to say no. So yeah, we didn't really make any big splashes and stuff, but certainly we were able to make the playoffs with me only playing like a couple of games at the beginning of the season. I have a feeling with this new roster, we should basically be in the same position to hopefully make the playoffs, maybe improve slightly, maybe like so we're not the 7th seed in the East and whatnot. And hopefully we can make the playoffs and kind of build on this miracle run and try and make it to the Cup, because it may or may not be McCabe's last season, considering it was his actual last season. IRL was the 2010-11 season, so we'll have to see. Oh, I guess in terms of free agent science, I guess I should note. Let me go into the stats tracking because I signed them at the beginning of the season. We still only had 2 right wingers, so I was like, all right, we need to. Oh, that's the wrong stats. I need player stats. There we go. Yeah, so we literally had 2 right wingers going to the season, so I went in and let's it's the right winger, so it's just easier to see. Interesting that not all of them are on the roster right now, but I guess I'll fix that. The 2 I signed though are here is Pavel Brendel here and our old friend Miroslav Satan. Were both free agents, and they're like an 82. I think Brendel's an 82, Satan was an 80. And I signed them to like I think a 2-year contract and a 3-year contract at like 1 point something million each. And I was like, that's pretty much a steal for them. So they really only had like 2 right wingers, so they had pretty good production stuff. So I'd say that was the big changes to our roster from the default one at the start. So I'd say yeah, we should kind of hopefully build in the season, make the playoffs again. Hopefully can go on a deeper run. But it's pretty better than I was expecting. So we'll see what happens, I guess. But yeah, that's it for this kind of recap. So hopefully next season, which will be the next episode, will be the 2010-11 recap. We win the Stanley Cup, or if we don't, Bryan McCabe doesn't retire, so we can keep going. But if he does, not much I can do. But the only way to find out would be to check out the next episode. So hopefully you enjoy this one. You'll check out the next one as well. Thank you.